Do you know why remarrying after 70 often brings more regret than happiness? If you're over 70 and thinking about saying, "I do," again, this might be the most important thing you hear today. At first, remarriage feels like a beautiful second chance, someone to share your dinners with, someone to talk to in the quiet evenings, and someone who brings comfort in the loneliness. But for many older adults, that fresh start can quickly turn into financial stress, emotional pain, and even legal trouble. This is not about fear. It's about wisdom. You've worked too hard and come too far to risk everything you've built. Maybe someone's been encouraging you to remarry, or maybe you're simply longing for companionship, and that's completely understandable. But before you walk down the aisle, there are truths you must hear. 1. Financial vulnerability. In your 70s, your financial world is like a carefully balanced house of cards. One signature on a marriage license can shake it all. It's not always because your new spouse has bad intentions. It's because marriage legally binds your finances together. If your new partner has debt, unpaid medical bills, or children from a previous marriage who expect support, those problems can suddenly become yours. Many seniors believe they can keep things separate, but the law doesn't always work that way. Even worse, remarriage can cost you benefits you've counted on. I've seen widows lose their late husband's Social Security income after remarrying, only to realize it when the check stopped coming. And if you have adult children or grandchildren, remarriage without proper legal planning can put their inheritance at risk. Even the most loving relationship can change when money gets involved. Families clash, promises get broken, and before you know it, the legacy you wanted to leave behind slips through your fingers. Take Ellen, for example. She was 74 when she married a kind man from her church. She thought they'd simply share companionship. But he had medical debt and no savings. Within 2 years, Ellen was draining her retirement fund just to stay afloat. Her children were devastated when they found out she'd even changed her will under pressure. This is what happens when financial planning is ignored. It's not just about money, it's about your peace of mind, your dignity, and your independence. Remarriage can bring comfort. But if you're not careful, it can also cost you everything you've spent a lifetime protecting. The consequences can be staggering. If you've made it this far in life with a roof over your head, food in your kitchen, and a plan for your future, take a deep breath before you walk down the aisle again. Your heart may be saying, yes, but make sure your wallet isn't quietly begging, please don't. 2. Health responsibility overload. When you remarry after 70, you're not just sharing your heart, you're also signing up for someone else's health journey, whether you realize it or not. And at this stage of life, health isn't a background issue. It's front and center every single day. For decades, you've cared for others, your children, your spouse, maybe even your aging parents. Now, just when you've earned the right to finally rest and focus on your own well-being, remarriage can pull you right back into carer mode. Let's be honest. By our 70s, many of us are already managing our own health challenges, doctor visits, medications, maybe arthritis, high blood pressure, or even diabetes. These things require energy. And when you add another person into your daily life, someone who might have even greater medical needs, you suddenly become responsible for both of you. It starts small. Maybe your new spouse occasionally forgets their medication. Maybe they just need a little help around the house. But over time, that little help can turn into round-the-clock care. And before you know it, the companionship you longed for has become an exhausting, unspoken burden. Here's the part no one talks about: caregiving at this age can actually harm your own health. Studies show that older carers often neglect their own needs. They skip their checkups, eat poorly, lose sleep, and withdraw from friends, all because they're pouring every ounce of energy into their partner. And while their intentions are loving, their own bodies quietly begin to break down. Take Patricia, for example. She remarried at 76. In the beginning, it was everything she dreamed of: laughter, comfort, and companionship. But a year later, her new husband suffered a stroke. Suddenly, Patricia was lifting him, bathing him, and managing his therapy sessions. Meanwhile, her own knee pain worsened, her eyesight declined, and she felt herself slipping into exhaustion. By the time she sought help, she was completely drained, mentally, physically, and emotionally. The hard truth is this: you can't pour from an empty cup. At this stage of life, your energy is sacred. If you don't protect it, no one else will. So, before you say, "I do," again, ask yourself, am I truly ready to take on another person's healthcare needs today, tomorrow, and every day after that? If you hesitate, even for a moment, honor that feeling. Your well-being matters. In fact, it matters more now than ever. If you're still watching and finding this valuable, type #2 in the comments so I know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss an important video that could change your life. Now, let's move forward. 3. Legal complications. One of the most overlooked dangers of remarriage after 70 isn't emotional, it's legal. Many seniors don't realize that saying yes later in life can create a tangled web of legal and financial consequences. 3. Legal complications. One of the most overlooked risks of remarriage after 70 isn't emotional, it's legal. And the consequences can reach far beyond you, even affecting your children and grandchildren. Let's start with inheritance. You've spent a lifetime building a legacy, a modest home, a pension, your savings, and maybe even precious heirlooms with deep sentimental value. You've likely put everything in order, your will written, your beneficiaries chosen, so that when the time comes, what you've built goes exactly where you intend. But here's the truth: the moment you remarry, all of that can change. In many states, a new spouse automatically gains legal rights to a portion of your estate, regardless of what your will says. That means your children could receive less than you planned, or worse, be dragged into painful legal battles after you're gone. And it doesn't stop there. Remarriage can also affect your Social Security benefits. Many widows rely on survivor benefits from a late spouse, benefits they earned over decades of marriage. But remarrying, even for companionship, can reduce or eliminate those payments entirely. That's money you might be counting on, gone in an instant with a single marriage certificate. Then there's the issue of medical decisions and power of attorney. If you were to fall ill or face a medical emergency, your new spouse may automatically become your legal decision-maker. Even if your adult children know your wishes better, or are better equipped to handle those choices, they could be pushed aside by the law. And if there's tension between your children and your new partner, the situation can turn heartbreaking. Take Carol, for example. At 81, she remarried a kind man from her church. She thought it was harmless, a simple companionship in her final years. But when Carol fell ill, her new husband legally had the authority to make every decision for her, decisions her daughter fiercely disagreed with. It didn't stop there. A court battle followed over the home Carol had intended for her grandchildren. Through tears, Carol admitted, "I thought I was finding comfort. Instead, I left behind a mess I never meant to." The lesson is simple: love is emotional, but marriage is legal. And at this stage in life, clarity is your best protection. Asking the hard questions doesn't make you cold, it makes you wise. Protecting your legacy isn't just about you, it's about the family who's stood by you for decades. Because what feels like a fresh start can sometimes create legal chaos you never saw coming. 4. Loss of personal freedom. After 70, the greatest gift you've earned isn't money or recognition, it's freedom. The freedom to wake up when you want, eat what you enjoy, and spend your days exactly the way you like. For years, you sacrificed for others. You followed rules, raised children, and shared your space. Now, this stage of life is supposed to be your time. But remarriage can quietly take some of that freedom away, faster than you realize. When you marry young, compromise comes naturally. You're building a life together from scratch. But by your 70s, you've already built your life. You've found the routines that bring you peace, the habits that keep you healthy, and the quiet comforts that feel like home. Bringing someone else into that well-earned rhythm can feel less like romance and more like disruption. Maybe your new partner loves having the TV on from dawn to dusk, while you prefer quiet mornings with a cup of tea and the newspaper. Or perhaps they want to eat out every night, while you enjoy the comfort and savings of home-cooked meals. Let's be honest, at this age, we're all set in our ways. And there's nothing wrong with that. You've earned the right to live life on your terms. But living with another person again means compromising those terms. Over time, what starts as small adjustments can become daily frustrations. And for many seniors, that loss of personal freedom is one of the most unexpected and painful realities of remarriage. 4. Loss of personal freedom. Maybe your new spouse expects 3 full meals a day, while you've grown comfortable with a light, simple routine. At first, these differences might seem small. But over time, they pile up, wearing down your patience and turning your peaceful home into a place of quiet tension. Then there's the emotional labor that comes with any close relationship: listening, explaining, and adapting. You may suddenly find yourself managing not only your partner's feelings but also their family dynamics. Instead of enjoying your hobbies, your time is spent adjusting. Your alone time, the freedom you've cherished, starts to feel like a privilege you have to ask for. Take Florence, for example. She was 76 when she remarried after 5 years of living alone. At first, she loved the companionship, shared meals, walks in the park, and late-night conversations. But slowly, the small compromises added up. She lost her quiet mornings. Her solo vacations stopped. Even something as simple as controlling the thermostat became a debate. "I didn't mind compromise when I was younger," she told me. "But now, every little change feels like a loss." This doesn't mean love is bad or that companionship has no place in later life. But it does mean you have to ask yourself a serious question: are you truly ready to give up some of the freedom you've earned for the sake of sharing your space again? Because at this stage, peace and personal space are often more valuable than partnership. You've already spent decades sacrificing. Now, you deserve relationships that respect your pace, your comfort, and your independence, not ones that quietly take it away. If you're still watching and this resonates with you, comment #4 below so I know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that button and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos that can protect your future. Now, let's move forward. 5. Financial entanglement. Remarrying after 70 might bring emotional companionship, but financially, it often opens the door to stress, confusion, and long-term vulnerability. When you're in your 30s or 40s, combining finances with a spouse makes sense. You're building a future together. But in your 70s, the goal is no longer building, it's protecting what you've worked a lifetime to earn. And remarriage, without careful planning, can undo decades of that hard work. Money at this stage isn't just numbers in a bank account. It represents your security, your independence, and your ability to live life on your terms. But when you remarry, your financial world doesn't just grow, it merges. Your assets, pensions, social security benefits, and even debts can become shared, depending on how the marriage is structured. And unless every detail is spelt out in writing, you risk losing control. Here's where it gets tricky. Suppose your new spouse has children from a previous marriage. What happens to your money if you pass away first? Without updated wills, prenuptial agreements, or clear estate plans, your assets could end up in the hands of people you never intended, leaving your own children heartbroken and angry. And it's not just inheritance. Imagine this: you've paid off your home, you live comfortably on your retirement savings, and life feels stable. Then you remarry someone who brings in unpaid debt, or worse, poor financial habits. Maybe they lend money to their children. Maybe they overspend. And suddenly, your nest egg, the one you spent decades protecting, starts to vanish. This is why financial entanglement is one of the most dangerous and most overlooked risks of remarriage in your later years. Credit card bills, unpaid loans, suddenly, your nest egg is exposed. One signature, one shared account, and everything you've spent a lifetime building can begin to crack. I once spoke to Gerald, an 82-year-old widower who remarried after losing his first wife. He didn't think much about the financial side of marriage. He believed love would fix everything. But within 2 years, Gerald was paying off his new wife's medical debt, supporting her adult son, and selling the vacation home he had promised to his daughter. "I just wanted company," he told me. "But I ended up giving away half my life." Now, does this mean remarriage is always dangerous? No. But it does mean that without careful planning, honest conversations, and strong legal protections, your finances could be at greater risk than you realize. And at this stage of life, you don't have the same margin for error you once did. So ask yourself, do I have the time, energy, and clarity to manage a complicated financial merger? Am I ready to protect not just my heart, but also my estate, my legacy, and the people I care about? If there's even the smallest doubt, pause. Reflect. Get the advice you need before making such a life-changing decision. Because at this age, you deserve security, not stress. Remarriage can be beautiful, but it should never come at the cost of your financial peace. Final thoughts. By the time we reach our 70s and beyond, we've weathered storms that younger generations may never understand. We've endured love and loss, sacrifice and celebration, quiet moments and bursts of laughter. And with each passing year, we learn that life isn't about what we can add, but what we no longer need to carry. That's why remarriage in later life isn't just a question of companionship. It's a deeply personal decision about how you want to spend your most precious years. Maybe some of you are thinking, but I'm lonely. I want someone to grow old with. That's a completely natural feeling. Human connection will always matter. But here's the truth, companionship doesn't have to come from another marriage. It can come from deep friendships. It can come from your family. It can even come from yourself. Because the kind of connection that nourishes your soul doesn't always require a wedding ring. We've been conditioned to believe that being partnered is what makes us whole. But what if you're already whole? What if this chapter of life isn't about merging with someone else, but about coming home to yourself? About enjoying your own company, setting your own rules, and living in peace without needing to explain or compromise. That isn't loneliness. That's freedom. I've spoken with many seniors who remarried and later admitted, quietly, that they missed their independence. They missed their peace. Some even said they wished they had paused long enough to truly ask themselves what they wanted, not what society told them to want. Because once you're past 70, you don't owe anyone a performance. You don't need to prove your worth through marriage. You've already proven it just by making it this far. So before you say, "I do," again, take a moment to say, "I deserve." You deserve ease. You deserve joy. You deserve the kind of life that feels right for you. Remarriage might bring that, or it might not. The important thing is that your decision comes from a place of self-trust, not self-doubt. Thank you for joining us today. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Share one thing you learned from this video and how you'll use it in your own life. Your comments inspire us, and your stories give strength to others who may be walking the same path. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful content for seniors just like you. We'll see you in the next video.